Romhack Races, Week 162 by FYRE150, Simpler Times. We'll see if this controls like that. Sometimes it's nice to look back at the simpler times. Good luck, racers. This is pleasant, so far. That is, so far. This doesn't look like it's been Typically with the Romhack Races base ROM, you have the opportunity... Okay, cool. It's not... Oh, hello. It's not... You usually can press start to get past the first screen and make your life happier, to be honest. Okay, a little bit late. Oh, I needed to drop below. Okay, well, so far I like this. Ooh. Maybe I don't understand that obstacle yet, but... Oh, that reminds me, I still need to fix that thing. Snyder pointed out a bug in my overlay that I need to fix. Is it showing up? Yes, okay. Basically, I have a line of code in the wrong spot. I add deaths to a list of objects to process. Oh, right, that's the separate one. Before I process the list, where I really should be adding it after processing the list. And that's kind of key, otherwise I end up double striking it, which looks a little funny, but isn't the end of the world. But I just need to move the line down and figure out where it's actually loading that file from, because I don't remember on this machine. There's a few places such files are loaded from. I am not getting that anymore. I used to have it down for a second. Nope. Okay. Didn't walk off fast enough. You know, before picking these, I really should look to see how long it took people to beat them. I could expect that this one was particularly difficult, but I don't know. I look forward to when Romhack Races redoes their site and changes the metrics. Because right now the metrics are still the old stuff, even though I have all of the new hacks they release every week. On Saturday, Romhack Racing at 5 p.m. PDT. They released them using a different rubric than they used to. Yeah, that's easier. I've been making that way harder than it need to be. Okay. How do I do that? What's up, Wergoose? Now the VC buddies aren't karting, you can hang again? I've been watching some of the new Mario Kart. It looks fun. Not on Twitch. I've been mostly watching the Underdogs YouTube Australian group doing it. They haven't reached the point where they need a gimmick yet. Which is funny to me, because most of what they do is play Smash with some sort of twist. So today... What was the twist? The twist was weird and hard to explain. Oh, hello. Oh, I need to go way faster. The twist before that was Among Us Smash. The basic idea being they go online, and they need to figure out which player is trying to sandbag, so that they lose 3 times before they win 3 times. And in both cases, they found the imposter, mostly by accident, which was pretty funny. Or, more standard, doubles with a twist. It's pretty much their bread and butter. Jumped. I just need to run off there. God, it's so much easier without doing the little bit of doubling back. Oh. Nope. But yeah, been watching a bit of that. The 24-person races, the elimination races seem kind of fun. Like, you know, you start with 24, and then it morphs the stage, and you do another. I need to go fast, not really than that. morphs the stage, and it's just kind of cool. If I had a Switch 2, I would consider getting it. At present, I don't have a Switch 2, and I'm debating whether or not I want to purchase one right now. Mostly because if it was available via the internet, I would be more willing to just pay for it, but like I have to go to a real store. And the problem is you need to know if they're going to have it in stock, and also my car's still in the shop. To be fair, it got out of the shop today, but then they sent me a mail saying, or a text saying, hey, we're closing early today, so if you want your car, you got to show up before this, but if you don't, because we're closing early, we're not going to hold it against you if you don't pick it up immediately, so. And holding it against me in this case would be like charging me $50 a day, so I definitely want to pick it up on Monday. Very much the plan to pick it up on Monday. And then maybe drive it somewhere just for the sake of driving, because I haven't really driven anywhere in a while. Where would I go? Costco, maybe? Oh, right, that's a semi-solid right there. I was briefly very confused about how I was going to get the height I needed. This is the fear of missing out period. It's like, you can wait until the hottest new movie turns up on Netflix. That's the thing, is I generally don't have much of a problem with that. It's more of, at some point in time, I'm going to want to get a Switch 2 anyway. I guess the fear of missing out here would be, this is the most likely hackable time to buy a Switch. So, like, I bought a Switch pretty soon after release, so I have a hackable Switch V1. So if I did want to start, like, doing mods and stuff, I could on that, which would be cool. Because later revisions closed a lot of the loopholes, and that's how it always works. Like, as hardware revisions go up, they reduce the number of reasonable exploits by hardening things, in addition to fixing bugs. Like, it used to be for a while that, like, what you would do is, if you found a, let's say, a local exploit in a thing on Windows, that you would also strap to it a pretty common escalation of privilege exploit to it. And if you remove the escalation of privilege exploit, the other exploit isn't nearly as bad. And Apple's been doing this pretty frequently with their stuff. So that's one of the reasons why iPhone's a lot harder to hack these days. Is finding an exploit isn't the end. Finding your first part of the exploit chain no longer guarantees you the ability to do the rest of it, because there's no longer a convenient way that they've left to sort of get yourself in the back door. That sounds wrong, but like basically just by hardening things, you make it just a lot harder to get your whole chain working. And you need the whole chain to work. Having a single crash bug is not enough. It's not a CTF style thing where once you find the crash, you're 90% of the way. But yeah, it sounds cool. The other reason, of course, is that at some point I'm going to need to stream Pokemon Scarlet Violet, one of them, I haven't decided which, and apparently the perf is just that much improved. So in the event that I can save myself, you know, a decent chunk of time by not waiting for loading and other such things, it becomes a pretty decent argument if I already have to do it anyway. But that doesn't require getting a Switch immediately, by any means. Oh yeah, since I talked about this last time, turns out that we are not going to be playing Final Fantasy V tomorrow. For various reasons, mostly related to traffic reasons in Seattle tomorrow. It looks like there's just going to be a ridiculous amount between some sort of protest and they're doing commencement at the University of Washington tomorrow. And that just ruins all sorts of traffic everywhere. Flying of the World actually has frames now. See? Huge improvement. There used to be an old, like, programmer joke, which is something along the lines of, what more giveth, Bill taketh away. And it's become more and more evident, no pun intended, that this is definitely the case. Because Moore's Law has stagnated to some extent. We've definitely gotten better processors and things still. But compared to the rapid increases we saw in the 90s, it's nowhere the same. And of course, Moore's Law just states that the number of transistors goes up, not that the speed of anything increases. And they've definitely found ways to pack more transistors into the small space because you have to do routing. Speed of light eventually becomes an issue. Because electricity in most metal, it moves at approximately like something like 0.6 the speed of light, I think. So you're still running up against... Oh, I forgot what I was doing. Running up against that constraint. Too early. But I do think this is going to become more and more of a problem over time, just because like people are not coding with an eye towards performance anymore. i.e., we're going to make the start button a React app. Woo! Honestly, I really wish I could find the person who came up with React and strangle them politely. Strangle's a bit far, but like basically like tell them, no, look at the world you've wrought. Or no, it's not. No, Electron. That's the thing I hate. I still hate React, but no, Electron's the thing I really hate. The let's ship a version of Chrome with our app that is our app, and oh yeah, also it's totally going to be older because you don't update this program nearly as often. And it's going to use all of the resources that Chrome would use just because we can. It's lazy. And the thing that bugs me is like pretty much every single operating system has a reasonable, well, except for Linux, way to just create a web control and put HTML in it. Simple enough to write a wrapper around it. That's what most of them do. But nope. Gotta use Electron. Opera in a nutshell. Opera is dumber. The only reason Opera still exists is because the EU threw them a massive bone. They probably shouldn't have, but they did. This was back during the consent decree days with Microsoft. Basic idea was, oh yeah, you definitely should never... Who would ship an operating system with a web browser? People will want to get different web browsers. And so in the EU, you actually, when you're installing a Windows Vista forward, maybe XP got caught in this, I don't remember. But basically, you would get to choose from a randomized list what web browser you wanted installed and made your default, and Opera was one of them. Firefox wasn't big enough to matter anymore. Netscape had already imploded by this time. So really, it was just Opera pushing it forward, and it was just a humongous waste of everyone's time, especially because Opera just isn't that good. Opera's main selling point back in the day was that it had a proxy. Okay, one sec. Okay. It had an image compressing proxy. Now, of course, nowadays, no one would want such a thing, and allowing for such a thing would be a privacy nightmare. But now, I don't really know what Opera's for. I don't know if it's a separate rendering engine, or if it's a thin wrapper around Chromium or one of the other ones. I mean, which is to say, you really only have one. There's like, I guess there's Conspire, or what was that? I don't know what to do there. I think there's maybe like two major web browser families. There's like that one Linux one that Chromium was eventually based upon. Maybe there's mobile Safari. There's Firefox. That's about it. There used to be more. Used to be Trident, Microsoft's, but Microsoft finally killed off its web rendering engine and became Chrome. I need to switch to something else soon, because I'm not going to tolerate... It's an outdated Chromium fork. Surprised I'm not. But long story short, like, once Chrome actually completely forces me off of Manifest v2, I am done with it, because I am not tolerating ads. I see ads with mobile Safari, and I'm just not going to put up with it. There's Brave. Brave is also a Chromium fork. Brave's weird. It has some nice things going for it, and I like that there's at least a vision of the future that he's gotten compared to some of the other browsers, but I don't know. Also, how you doing, Blue Ribbon? You erased this one? I erased one. You rated me while I was doing that, yeah. See, I erased one. I played one I erased yesterday. And somehow my list of Romhack racist things is wrong, which is weirding me out. So I need to, like, re-audit my list. Because it kept recommending ones I'd already played. I'm like, oh, that's a fun one. I'm like, wait, I know it's fun because I played it. So. But the worst thing is really there's only there's only two web browsers now. There's Mobile Safari and there's Chromium. There's nothing else. Nothing else matters. No one tests outside of those two. He's a turbo chud. It's true. I mean, I don't know if he's a turbo chud, but I remember he got kicked out of Firefox for various reasons. I'm not entirely convinced, given how Firefox has been run for the last while, that it was a good decision. Like, Firefox has legitimately lost a ridiculous amount of market share and fired a lot of people doing innovative things and basically not succeeded in the areas where it used to be good since then. So I'm just not sure it was a good choice. He also invented JavaScript, which in general does not endear me to him. As the story goes, they only called it JavaScript because they wanted to cash in on the Java craze. It isn't that terrible. The more I think about it, the more the modern web just makes me mad. Like, all of these single-page apps that are clunky and barely work frequently. I mean, Gmail was the only single-page app for a long time that worked consistently. Almost all the other ones I gotta refresh occasionally because they just break. Back frequently breaks because they're doing something stupid. It's based on all these React things, so it's so much action at a distance that you can no longer open a web page and see how it worked. That was one of those ways, like, people would learn how to write JavaScript and how to write HTML and CSS. It's like, oh, that's cool. How did they do that? And you look at the HTML because they wrote it by hand, and then you would learn. I just need to pause there. I don't know how to do that. And I keep making the wrong mistake, so I just need to stop and think. Yeah, he did donate to, what was it, Proposition 8 or something, I think was the story. But, like I said, I don't know if it was the best choice overall because, again, Firefox has taken a massive dive in leadership quality. It just was not, it was not good either way. Unfortunate as it is. It was the thing is, like, nerds used to love Firefox, and now we're all like, Firefox, because they haven't done anything good in a while. Like, most of the things they've done have been bad ideas. Such as not continuing to develop Rust. Nope. And of course, that was the one that pissed me off the most, was the Mr. Robot thing. They decided to install a extension that advertised this Mr. Robot show, which I've seen all of one episode of, and it featured Alf, and that was weird. I don't know what to say about that. But at the same time, that's like, here's your privacy preserving web browser that blocks ads and stuff, and oh yeah, we updated to put this ad for this TV show in your web browser. Thanks. Like, tactless. Absolutely tactless. You think that people would have learned from that debacle where, what was it? Was it a U2 album, I think? Or a Sting album? I forget. But basically, Apple decided to just load this album onto everybody's iPhone or iPod or whatever. And people weren't for it. They're like, I don't want a free album. I don't want this album on my iPod. Why did you do that? And that's how I feel about that. Like, it was just not a good choice. And it's even worse because, like, Apple was never one for privacy or anything like that. Like, certainly they've gotten more in that direction with... crap, I did it again. With iPhones and things, and the way they've been doing Secure Enclave. But, like, Firefox was the privacy, no ads browser for a long time, and they betrayed their entire constituency that way. Like, for what? So, yeah, their leadership's been so bad. Honestly, I would have taken him. It's just so bad. Now, to say it now, of course, we can also run the counter-positive, which is, the contra-positive, I suppose, which is that, Brave has done a lot of weird and dumb things. Like, it has, like, a crypto coin thing where they give you the crypto coin for people visiting your website, which is weird. There's Tor integration, which I think I actually have Brave installed just for that, because I didn't want to have to run Tor a different way. It seemed more convenient. And you can really mess up your Tor. You can really mess up when you're trying to get Tor to work if you configure it wrong. Now, to be fair, don't use it that often. But it's very easy to make a leaky Tor install. There's a lot of dumb things you can do. So it's better to just have a pre-configured version. Fair thing, Firefox and Brave. Lesser of Evil's all the way down. Yeah. I want a web browser made by people who aren't insane or terrible at what they do. I don't think I'll be getting this anytime soon. Not to mention how much the spending has increased in the Mozilla Foundation over time, despite the lack of results. Like, as an executive, you should not be rewarded for failing. Doubly so in a non-profit organization dedicated to making free software. Like, seriously. I also have the same rant against Wikipedia. Wikipedia pisses me off the same way. Like, they put out Jimbo whales crying every year, when, like, their endowment is humongous. They don't need to ask people for money. They just need to stop spending it on really frivolous stuff. Like, Wikipedia is in no danger of disappearing because they had like they had more than 100 million in the bank at various points in time, but their spending just keeps increasing. And it's not like the basic costs of Wikipedia have increased. Not to mention they're not doing an awful lot of the outreach stuff they used to do. So, anyway. Alternative to Firefox is privacy-friendly LibreWolf. I could see that. Using Firefox, the only thing that you want out of your browser is opening and running a web page that isn't owned by Google because you don't trust them. That's fair. They were simpler times. How you doing, Fire? I'm going to go back to IE6. That's what I'm doing. I'm just going to go back to IE6. That spawned differently. Anyway. I've yet to figure out how to get around the shrooms. I keep doing that. I think I just need to wait there. Haven't Kaizo'd much this year. Oh, they're massively intrusive about asking. They're so awful about asking. And the honest truth is, if they just stopped spending on dumb shit for a year, they would never, ever, ever need to ask for money again. Like, there's a guy on Wikipedia who documents this. They just have a spending disease. That's really it. Like, hosting and bandwidth have come down massively in cost since the time, well, like when Wikipedia got started. Of course, they're doing replication and stuff, but like the costs have come down quite a bit in general, just because stuff got cheaper. And also, like, most of their programming is done now by random volunteers. I still don't get it. Like, I remember reading Wikipedia's mailing list back when that's how they did most of their organization, because that's how every sort of vaguely open source thing did it. No web forms, no Discord, you just had a listserv hosted somewhere. And they were like, yeah, if we get enough donations, our programmer gets to eat this month. But that was like 2005. Again, the world has changed. Want ad block? You're not switching to Firefox because ad block you have here works, except on Twitch, where it's really tough to block Twitch ads. Yeah, Twitch has gone full scorched earth on that. As with a lot of people, I'm not terribly happy with that, but there's not much we can do about it. I think it's massively harmed discoverability. And honestly, Twitch, I think, has gone all in on the whale strategy, which seems to be what most big companies do after a while. The idea being that it's not really worth it to chase the long tail when you can just pump up your bigger streamers and bigger things more, which is kind of a bummer, especially if and when those guys flame out. What's up, MLP fan? How you doing? I like the Minecraft axe. That's nice. Or not axe, but it's a pickaxe. It's a type of axe. We're just ranting about web browsers. Actually, a little bit of fact for you. You know why Chrome exists? It wasn't because Google thought, oh yeah, we want to get to be the kings of the web and all that evolved out of it. It was because people were really tired of how shitty Firefox ran on Linux. I kid you not. Well, one of the reasons, at least. But basically, like, at Google, right before Chrome was released, it was not uncommon to see people running a whole Windows VM just to run Chrome. Because Firefox on Linux, where you think it'd be paramount, was awful. So the more you know. I made it. Kinda. And then they live for Kick software product. Yeah, exactly. And they can afford that at Kick. Because that's Microsoft's thing, right? You okay? Am I okay? I'm doing fine. You know, had a decent walk today. Played a little pinball. Went to D&D, where a different person turned evil this week, and we had to give him a good old-fashioned exorcism, i.e. beating the crap out of them. But it was a lot easier this time around, because the environment did not suit them quite as well as it did the first guy. And there was no time to plan. Also, we had more of the party, which helped a lot. But yeah, since he went evil, he was a rogue, and like, while rogues are really good at killing things, they're not very tanky, and they kind of rely on hiding and not getting noticed, which didn't work because we knew where he was. Kick his stakes thing, the shady. Oh, that's a gambling company that like puts random ads and like meme pictures. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that's a good thing. Competition's a good thing, but like, I don't know. I think when it comes to online gambling, I think Golden Monkey Palace Casino will always have a spot in my heart. Not because I condone gambling on the internet or anything, but because they sponsored a boxing match where known director of terrible video game films, Ubol, beat the crap out of Lotax. And that, just thinking about it, just makes me happy. One of those very weird internet moments where Ubol was given the ability to box all of his critics, and boy did he. I forget the other guys. One was Sean Baby, who I think has become completely irrelevant since Cracked disappeared. But I don't think he's a bad guy or anything. Didn't really want to get him see beat up. Lotax deserved to get beat up. I guess he's dead now, so this sounds a lot more mean than it really should. But Something Awful was definitely not a gift to the internet. Some parts of it, some moments were nice, but like, on a whole, Something Awful was definitely a major detriment to the internet. What? I still don't know what to do with those poison shrooms to get consistent there. I'm surprised that worked. Not that. If I, like, wait a beat, then I can jump between them, maybe? Oh, I also beat Dark Forces 2. That's done with. I'm ecstatic that that's done with, because honestly, I think that last boss was... The last two bosses were not fun. One of them kept jumping and going, ah! Like he was a... Well, I guess, 90s FPS protagonist. And then the last guy, he was a pain to hit, and I didn't realize the rules of what I was looking at until long after I should have. I didn't explore the space well. That works. I didn't realize there were regenerating power-ups, which really would have helped. Because I was playing Keep Away and using heal, but it wasn't a very good strategy when he could force nuke me. Well, really force rocket launcher me, but yeah. It is what it is. Don't believe in competition because capitalism either ends in monopolies or cartels. I'm not sure I'm convinced at that. Sometimes those go away even. There was a hilarious thing. This guy's... Apparently raisins, if you grow them in... Or grapes, if you grow them in California and you grow in excess, the California Raisin Board would buy them from you from a pittance. And some guy finally sued and was like, no, none of this makes sense. Why are you doing this? And it got dismantled. Because you weren't allowed to sell them on the open market because of some sort of weird thing California set up. And dude's like, I just want to sell my raisins on the open market. That should be allowed. I shouldn't have to sell them to this weird pseudo-government organization. And yeah, it went away. Probably took like 10 years knowing how the wheels of government work, but... I didn't have to catch the platform. That'd be easy, but I need to catch the platform. No, that doesn't work. The Sun-Maid logo looks so innocent. It does. And the California Raisins, you think they're just fun, jazzy people? But no. No, they're not. They have a terrible secret. A single time in the last 10 years, a new company has broken and lowered the price of anything at all. It depends upon the region. The cost of craft beer has gone down significantly because there's a lot more craft breweries, and ditto for an awful lot of distilleries. The cost of most, though not very specific types of things, have gone down just because of how that works. So yeah, I think in that, maybe that might have not been in 10 years, but in 15 years, it certainly has happened. Wait, what? How do I get that? The problem with a scroller level like this is if you don't do it the way the author intends, you're never going to get it exactly right. And it can bite you much later. It's kind of like tassing. Nope. Videos of yesterday. Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I'm not entirely convinced. Like I said, it depends upon the industry, and there's an awful lot of industries that are not the giant ones you're thinking of. A lot of small stuff that has people coming from the bottom to change things. Mortgage industry in particular had a lot of innovation in the last 10 years. Though, frankly, an awful lot of that also kind of went away thanks to how the Fed's been treating interest rates, but that's a whole different pile of beans. Okay. Oh, right, I don't need to catch it anyway. Alright, at least I understand what I'm supposed to do there now, I think. I think. Okay, a little bit faster, but not too much more faster. I guess also pinball. Pinball has kind of had its natural monopoly broken between Williams and Stern. There's a non-trivial number of companies that are up and coming in that area. Whether or not that reduced prices, hard for me to say, but certainly variety has increased, if nothing else. There's Jersey Jack, and there's Barrels of Fun, and there's a few others now. Haven't played the new Barrels of Fun one, but I think I might actually have to go downtown and try that one out in the near future. Because it's Dune-themed, and that seems fun. And then the new Jersey Jack is Harry Potter-themed, but honestly, I don't really care for Jersey Jack machines when I've played them. And there's another one, I forget what it is. I think they did like the Elton John machine, which I played once and didn't really care for. There's also a Big Lebowski machine. I don't know who made that. It's a weird theme, Big Lebowski. But there's a big bash target in the middle of it that is the carpet, which is funny. But I haven't enjoyed playing it all that much. I've only given it like a few quarters worth of tries, so. And I'm probably going to play a decent amount of King Kong in the future, because I think most of the arcades around here are getting it, or most of the pinball places are getting it. And it does seem like it's fun. I think it'll depend a little bit upon which version. I think this is a case where, like, Premium versus Pro makes a difference. I will say that, like, it's really easy to get into multi-ball in it, which is nuts. The various 2 large insect multi-balls. Nope. It really ties the whole pinball machine together. I keep missing that now. Anyway, Labyrinth was pretty decent. It played weird to me, but it's one of those, like, I'd be willing to give them another shot on another machine, because what I've seen of the Dune machine looks good. Or sounds good. Fistbit played a bit of it at the Tacoma Game Show. I wasn't willing to stand in an 8-person deep line for that. Only unfortunate part is the only place that presently has either Dune or Harry Potter is the Pinball Museum downtown. Which, you know, it shouldn't bug me that I have to go downtown, but, like, it's annoying. And International District's just... It's not that hard to get to, but it's just, you know, it's there. I probably should go. I haven't been to Uwajimaya in forever. And it's always fun to go to Uwajimaya. It's, I guess it's a chain, but I don't think it's a outside of Seattle, like, proper chain. Of sort of Japanese, vague Asian collection stores that sell food and other sundries. So, like, if you want to get chopsticks, you go there. If you want to get kontatsu, you can go there. But also, like, you can go there just to buy, like, Japanese food. I think it's the only place in town you can legitimately get, like, actual wasabi. But you have to, like, know a guy who knows a guy to know when it's coming in. Because, like, it doesn't come in very much, and it's expensive. My understanding is, like, proper wasabi doesn't really grow outside of Japan, and the growing conditions have to be, like, very clean spring water, or something insane like that. Which is why mostly we just eat the horseradish that's dyed green instead. Which I find disappointing. It's like the not malt vinegar that some places have, where it's like an artificial made. And I don't think it's bad. I mean, vinegar is really just acetic acid. But it's disappointing. I don't know. I like the old process. But they like the new stuff for various reasons. There's like a Tom Scott video on it. It doesn't contain alcohol and other things and impurities. But like, part of the fun of tasting things sometimes is comparing things. Especially when it's a product like that, it can actually make a bit of a difference. Of course, I have nothing but positive things to say about not using real newspaper for fish and chips, because newspaper ink is probably bad for you. How much authentic wasabi and Canadian maple syrup would go? Like, combined in one bottle? I can tell you, like, Canadian maple syrup isn't, like, even the primo stuff around here, at least. Like, I'd much rather get a bottle of Vermont maple syrup. But yeah, that'd be gross. Also, like, real wasabi, I think, doesn't have a very long shelf life. Like, you really just have to use it right then. Which is one of the reasons why they like the horseradish, because it's much more shelf-stable. But again, that's my understanding versus what actually is. And those frequently diverge. Just don't know why I jumped there. That did not help the situation. I can always re-grab in midair if I want to, which I do. I'm not having much luck with this level. I'm regressing. I'm not sure I actually like the conceit here, the, like, auto-scroller thing. Not quite. I wonder how close I am to the... Assuming there is a checkpoint. That jump would have worked if I hadn't jumped the wrong direction. But yeah. The other problem with the Pinball Museum is it's only open like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I don't know if it's open Sunday. Certainly not going tomorrow, I'll tell you that much. Don't re-grab, it's a straight just hop for the first three. That jump is the one I think that I'm having the most trouble with. I think I've got the mushrooms largely down. Well, I guess I don't quite have the jump into the bullet bill spot. But... Also, the best maple syrup I think I've ever had was a maple syrup I bought in Florida, of all places. Outside of a grocery store. They were selling rum barrel-aged maple syrup, and it was just really good. The best maple syrup I've ever had, oh my god, was maple syrup that was aged in ex-Whistle Pig casks. There was a tasting, this was probably 10 years ago, local bar, where the master distiller from Whistle Pig came and talked about distilling. And he brought some maple syrup for a specific cocktail. Like, he liked to give that stuff out to, like, bartenders. And, like, yeah, I know if you're a bartender, you show up here, you can get some. And he had a tiny, tiny bottle that you could use for it that he gave away to someone answering the correct question. And I did not answer the correct question. I also know why they're called Whistle Pig now, which is something that was weird, because it's an odd image. The story goes, as he tells it, is that he was roaming around near the distillery one day, because they hadn't, like, decided on a name or something, and he ran into this French dude going, "Whistle Pig, Whistle Pig." He's like, "What?" He's like, and he points to a ground and says, "Whistle Pig." And the guy's just confused and goes, the French goes, "Ah, Americans," and walks off. And they're like, well, that's a good enough sign for anything. They also specialize, at least partially, in doing rye, which wasn't very popular as far as making whiskey goes, though it has creeped up a bit in recent years. But the thing about rye is it's very tricky to distill and foams up horribly. So you have to add some stuff to prevent it from doing that. That was shameful. But yeah, one time they were doing that and didn't know, because they were just starting out and didn't know. They ended up just having to sweep the whole place of all of this rye foam. I was told earlier this week that that happens sometimes with mezcal distillation, and because of the different kind of still they use, it can occasionally, like, blow off someone. It blew off someone's arm at least once, which is awful. I'm making progress. Good luck, rye guy. Thanks. Rye, rye, rye. I'm a rye guy. You've never had a bread sandwich from Pete's? How you doing, Abe Lincoln? Guys, I just called Pete's. They're closed forever. Who answered the phone? Oh, hello, Mario. That makes sense. It's the right thing to do. Actually, you have a bottle of Whistle Pig, one of the Single Cast Nation ones. It's around there somewhere in the... Well, that might be the right thing to do. Other day I got invited to someone's birthday party, and he was like, "I don't want any more stuff. I have too much stuff." And I'm like, "Well, what about, like, a sampler bottle?" And he's like, "Yes, that'd be fine." So I'm going to find something in my whiskey closet and pour him a small bit. Probably encourage someone else to do the same thing. Okay. Shouldn't it be All-Stars Mario 1? I don't know if I have All-Stars Mario. But let's be honest, everyone loves seeing the original 8-bit Mario, bro. Oh, I guess that's something maybe I should try to show off at some other late point. One of my favorite things of all time is Tom Seven's proof that Super Mario Bros. Is NP complete. Well, I'd say it's by Tom Seven, but it actually on the slide says it's by Vargomax v. Vargomax, who I don't know and suspect is some sort of running gag at Carnegie Mellon. But I couldn't tell you. Either way, it's fantastic. My favorite bit is at the end, where it's discussing the minuscule breadcrumb trail for future funding A, which is so very academic when you really get down to it. Unfortunately, I don't think Tom Seven did a thing this year. Brother was too busy with other stuff. Yump 2 has a level that proves SMW is NP complete. I have actually played that level in Yump. It's been millions of years, but I have. How you doing, Max? That's one of the levels I remember. That and the Auto Runner Airport level. That's the only other one I really remember. No, there's also the Hammer Brother level that threw Hammer Brothers. That level I remember. It's probably remember more than I thought. But still. Oh, whoops. Oop. Okay, got a run going. I messed it up. I can't hesitate there. I'm doing a little bit of hesitation because I want to like change my velocity and it doesn't work. Mario Goes Vegan, is that the level name? Man. Hope I'm not losing my voice. That would suck. Wouldn't see a reason for it. I haven't talked that much in recent days or anything like that. Time for a drink of water or something. I was thirsty. It's been a warm and thirsty day. Went on a very long walk to get to D&D. I got there 2 minutes, like literally a minute after one of the other dudes did. And I'm like, I want the chair, man. I walked here. If you biked here, I'd be fine, but I want the chair. I just want to be able to sit somewhere. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. But yeah, the pinball thing this week is Avengers. And so I went out and played Avengers. I'm like, oh, I can get a skill shot. That's no problem. And I got like the super skill shot and the super secret skill shot. Yeah, it wanted the really lame skill shot. So I have to go back and try again later. Oh, hey, I think that might have been a single frame thing. New territory that's full of fish. This new territory. No! Remember those? Cape Fear, Mario Was Vegan, the Minecraft level, the weird as fuck level you don't remember the name of, but had a shitty green castle box. Yeah, I don't remember any of those. Was thinking at some point I probably should do Jump Half again, because that was just fun. Though I should finish doing the YouTube stuff for Jump first. Because I haven't finished some of it. I think I'm going to change how I was going to do something, because I started doing it, and then I looked and I didn't like it. So I'm going to change that. But I still need to write some scripts. It is fish country. Can't slow down, it's fish country. But I think I've gotten most of the consistency I need. Ah, that's bad. Oh, hey, the screen doesn't scroll the other way. Wait, didn't it scroll in the other spot? Yeah, I'm making that regrab harder than it needs to be. Oh, crap, I forgot what I was doing. But there's a lot of hacks I should play. Or other things that I don't have the gumption to start right now. Like, I want to finish some things. I've started too many things in the past. I finished Dark Forces. That's done. Baba Is You is getting close. I don't know how many more instances of Baba Is You there's left, but, like, I know how many levels there are, I think. At least I thought it was 231. Not levels, but, like, solvable entities, I suppose might be the right term. Add up to 231. Which Snyder pointed out to me may be an outdated number, unfortunately. So not much I can do there. But I currently have 3 puzzles that are solvable right now. I'm not sure why that's... Oh, crap. That's... But I've solved all of the base worlds now. I am so happy about that. But of course, that also means that when I'm stuck going forward in the current area I'm in, there's only one puzzle I can really... Well, only 2-ish puzzles I can go back to right now. Nope. So there's that. But I suspect I've also missed some stuff. I was thinking about how, like, every... Oh. I was thinking about how every world upon completion has a world complete and a flower pops out. And there's at least 2 worlds that I think I've beaten, at least 1 world I think I've beaten, where that didn't happen. So there's got to be something to that. But I'm not entirely sure. Should also do the Metroid hacking, but I've just been like going outdoors too much for that recently. Maybe I'll try to tackle some of that tomorrow, depending upon when I get moving. Been trying to be less of a degenerate lately, so I've been setting an alarm every day to wake me up. That I hope to walk back a little bit before going to GDQ, which I know is like in 2 weeks, but still. What usually ends up happening to fix my sleep schedule is that I end up traveling and then sleeping for like 18 hours. Because I didn't sleep much. To be fair, this worked really well in Japan. So, can't say it was a bad idea. Like, seriously, I cannot believe how well that worked. Like, I went full degen on my sleep schedule. I got like 2 hours of sleep before the flight. I didn't sleep on the flight. And I got there, and honestly, I hit the ground running. So, like, that worked really well, because 5 a.m. here is 9 a.m. there. So the more you know. Go. Hit to the rules and I hit the ground running. Precisely. No, I almost fell asleep on the plane. Almost. It was getting... they dimmed the lights on the plane, and this is actually kind of cool. On the type of plane I was on, they don't actually have, like, window shades. They just dim the windows. Hate when I get there too late. And so, like, you can still kind of see outside and see that it's still sunny, because when you're traveling west, the sun doesn't really set. Not quickly, at least. This is also true if you're traveling north from Seattle, but that's a different hill of beans. Had great fun on one trip with my buddy, who was Muslim, and it was in the middle of Ramadan. And I kept looking at him and saying, "Is the sun down yet?" And eventually he just gave up, because it isn't actual. It is required to not eat from sunup to sundown, depending upon certain things. One, if you live somewhere where the sun never sets, you are in fact allowed to eat at some point. They just decide to set sundown and sunup to specific random times. Well, specific times that some scholar had decided on. Ditto in space, because if you could only eat, like, that wouldn't be much of a sacrifice in space. It just doesn't make sense. Because I think the experience of sunrise every 15 minutes or something if you're on IIS or something. I forget. But you are allowed to skip days if you are traveling, but you have to make them up. So I bought him some tacos one day when he was doing a makeup day, and he ate like 10 of those suckers. I had like 4. He ate 10. It was so many tacos. But there's not much I can do if I hit that late. I may have to take a DNF on this one. But I did see the ending, and that does encourage me. Well, an ending, I don't know. This is a fire level. There's probably multiple sections. But... And also, I should say this again, there probably won't be a stream tomorrow. Because of stuff I'm doing. So, Squiggles was going to come over. We were going to Final Fantasy V. He tried to convince me we should do some, like, remote thing, and I'm like, that defeats the point of the entire exercise, Squiggles, and you know it! So, we have rescheduled for 2 weeks from tomorrow. At which time he will also bring me a burrito, which I always appreciate. None of it will be a Chipotle burrito or a Katsu burrito, but either way it will be a burrito, and when you deliver me a burrito for breakfast, I am a happy man. So, bit of a bummer not to get it started earlier, which is just going to make things a little more complicated for me. So, like, I'll have a choice of either trying to bum rush Final Fantasy V the, like, week I have in Seattle after that, which includes 4th of July. In fact, there's an awful lot of things that will make it difficult. There's the Solstice stuff that's happening next weekend, and I'm probably going to go do some of that. In fact, Friday I'll have to skip out on D&D because I'm working a merch table for a band, which should be fun. I also need to find out when they're playing and when they need me to be there. Which means hopefully I'll run into... I should just send them an email. Probably that'll work better. I'll just send an email to one of them just in case. But... because I might run into them this weekend, because they tend to be around the area. But if I don't, then I won't know. So, but it's not till Friday, so I don't have to worry. I might run into them tomorrow. Could be fun. And they put on a good show. I've been looking forward to it. Last time I saw a show of theirs was a while back, and I was just exhausted afterwards. Because I just did too many things that day. It was the Carnival of Cocktails day, which is always a big old drinking day. Fun, but it's, you'll buy the merch. I mean, I guess if you want to buy, if you'll be at GDQ and want to buy it sight unseen, because I'm not going to tell you the name of the band in advance, I could theoretically purchase you a shirt if you'll reimburse me. Otherwise, no. Like, I don't even know what their merch looks like. Dang it. They were going to have it for the last show, but apparently they made some major errors, and he had to send back the shirts, and he was pissed off. Don't blame him. I need to come up with a better strat for that. Now, tomorrow I'm just going to hang out with Snyder for a bit. I owe him a dinner out because he's going to take me to the airport for GDQ. And given the price of Ubers, something Olga was mentioning, it's just not as feasible as it used to be. And I really don't want to have to take the light rail. It's just so slow. That was actually a fun thing I told someone in Japan. I was at a bar, drinking with my buddy, and people next to us wanted to have a chat, which is kind of always fun. That guy worked at one of the car companies. I won't say Honda, but it doesn't matter which. And spoke Korean natively, but spoke English immaculately. He's like, "Oh, I'm sorry for my poor English." I'm like, "No, your English is great. I wouldn't have guessed." And he talked about how he learned English, which was actually really funny, because he studied abroad in Japan. Where's I going with this story? He studied abroad in Japan, and he had 2 roommates. I want to say a Russian and an Israeli, and they basically realized the only way they were ever going to communicate with each other was English. And I'm like, that sounds like the start of a bar joke. A Korean, an Israeli, and Russian walk into a bar. But anyway, I was telling them about taking the train in America, because I've taken the train, the Amtrak train from Seattle to DC. And it's not fast. It really isn't. And I'd tell them that, like, yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. You look out the window and you see, like, a pickup truck passing you on a road, on the parallel road. And you're like, what are we even doing here? Thought about taking the train out for GDQ, but I'm not going to. In all honesty, it's just too slow and expensive. Like, you can do it. You can do it on the cheap. You will be on a train for 40 hours. You will not be able to shower. You'll have to eat whatever crap food they have on the train, or you can bring your own, thank goodness. Like, seriously, next time if I ever travel by train again, I am bringing a cooler, and I am putting my own food in it, because the food on the train, even if you're having a sleeper car, sucks. Like, mind-bogglingly bizarre stuff. And it's all, like, Cisco crap anyway, so, like, none of it's great. It's all, like, boil bag. Like, they had steak. The steak was awful. And served with spherical carrots. Like, nobody should ever serve anything with spherical carrots. You want to know why? You can't stick a fork in a spherical carrot. It makes no sense. I don't even know how you make a carrot spherical. Like, that makes no sense to me. Anyway, what I did when I got to Chicago was I got a deep dish pizza, and I ate that for the rest of my meals. I think I ate the breakfast. The breakfast was okay. Nothing to write home about, but not bad. Some of this might have been because it was during late 2021, and they were still doing the COVID thing, though there was an interesting divide. The train staff from Chicago forward, melon baller, but yeah, you have to really, you can't get a lot out of any given carrot if you're making them spherical the size I'm thinking of. Like, I guess I have no way to tell you how big it is on stream because there's no camera. I would say they were roughly pinball-sized. How would I feel about castatelli? That's a pasta, right? I don't think I've ever had it. It looks weird. Looks tasty. I don't know. It's pasta. Baby carrots are ugly. Unsellable carrots whittled down. Well, that's the thing, is baby carrots work as a concept, right? Like, if you can't sell them and no one wants to juice them, baby carrots at least get, like, some profit back. And people eat them. Like, I like baby carrots. Forkable, toothable, and sauceable. What does that mean for carrot balls? I don't know. Like I said, it was just weird. Also, like, steak doesn't make sense on a train. They don't really have the gear to cook a steak well. Not too well done, but generally as a concept that is adequately performed. Like, if they'd stuck with, like, sandwiches or pasta, like, you could do pasta. I think boiling things works fine on a train. But, like, they were trying to do things that were just not things you can really do well on a train. Not far enough. Tried to re-grab it the last second, it did not pay off. But yeah, I'm going to bring a cooler, and when I get to Chicago, I'm just going to get a deep dish pizza and put it in the cooler. That's the plan. Pretty sure I can get ice on the train. And if not, you can get ice in Chicago. And ice in Seattle. There are places that sell ice. Like I don't think the train station's too far away from like a 7-Eleven or something. It's in the International District. It's probably not that far away. But yeah, just unless you're taking the Acela, I would recommend, or you just want to do it for the experience, I really would not recommend taking Amtrak ever. Like, it's just not a reliable experience. And even the Acela can be bad sometimes. So, like, this year, when I came back from the Mystery Hunt, I took the Acela, and it costs about as much as flying and takes a lot longer. So I was going Boston to DC, and unfortunately for me, I forgot one important fact about that period of time around MLK Day in January, is that that's often every 4 years, or 8 years, depending upon how things wash out, Inauguration Day. Yeah, don't take the train to DC on Inauguration Day. That wasn't the main reason I was hella late, but it certainly didn't help. I guess regarding pasta, I usually just get penne. I like penne. I don't have many pasta opinions here. Unless, like, you're making something specific. Like, if it's carbonara, it's gotta be, you know, you actually need to make the spaghetti. But if it's gonna be a red... Vodka sauce is really good. I haven't had that in a while. Like, that is a surprisingly tasty sauce. And you think with a name like vodka sauce, it has a lot of vodka, but it's got like a tablespoon, maybe? For a whole pot? A whole pan. So despite the name, there just isn't that much in there, which is fine by me. The vodka in there is for, like, emulsification or flavor. You don't really taste it, because vodka, ideally, you shouldn't be tasting anyway, because that's how vodka works. Which is not my spirit of choice. If I'm going to drink something, I want to taste it. Went to Westland on Sunday, the Westland Distillery in Seattle, to try out their hand fill, and they actually had a few interesting things. Quite literally, went with Fiskbit, and the lady's like, when was the last time you were here? We got these and these. Have you tried these? And Fiskbit's like, do you have anything interesting hiding under the counter? And he's like, well, I'll check. And she finds a ex-Aquavit cast whiskey, which is weird. Because Aquavit, in my mind, is very similar to vodka in the sense that it's a pure spirit. It's not really supposed to taste like anything. But I don't know that much about Aquavit. I'm fairly certain it's a, I want to say, what's that area of the world? Nordic kind of tradition. But like I said, I just don't know that much about it. I need to not hesitate there. He who hesitates is lost to Goombas. You could be a Goombas. But anyway, point of the story. They had two new ones, which where we were there. One was they have a lot of collaboration casks. So they'll give a cask to a beer company, and they'll age some beer in it, and then they will send it back, and then they'll age some whiskey in it, which is nifty. So in this case, it was the company had made, I don't remember the name of the company, unfortunately, Black Raven maybe? But the brewery made a cherry sour first, and then a farmhouse saison. And I'm gonna be honest, you could taste both of them, which is not common for that class of thing after it's been aged in a whiskey barrel, or the whiskey's been aged in it. You could taste the cherry, and you could taste the farmyard funk. Like, the thing I understand about farmhouse things is typically they use a lot more wild yeasts or older yeasts, and you end up with a less, like, distinctive flavor, and you can taste the yeast a bit more. I had a farmhouse cider once at a taste, and it wasn't a tasting, it was a sale. There was a bar that used to do these, like, quarterly wine sale things, basically just to clear out his old stock so he could put new stuff in. And he'd have good deals and the like, and sometimes you'd find really interesting things. And in fact, I still have this giant bottle of rosé from that. I forgot about that. It's sitting in my closet somewhere. But he was trying to sell me on this giant bottle of cider, and I'm like, well, can I try it? And he's like, I got one that's kind of similar. And I tried, I'm like, I don't want to drink that much of that kind of apple cider, because it's just really funky. You could really taste the barnyard. Dang it. Rye guy. That's the thing, I don't even drink that much rye. Rye tends to be kind of, depending on who makes it, tends to be kind of pickly, if that makes sense. Like, I took a shot at buying a random rye, because sometimes if you're in a state, if you already have to check a bag, and you're in a place where, honestly, liquor isn't that expensive, it's oftentimes just worthwhile to pick a bottle and go for it. And I went to California and bought like a $20 bottle of local rye, because California has relatively low liquor taxes, despite having high taxes on everything else, whereas Seattle has incredibly high liquor taxes. Anyway, so a $20 bottle of rye there is not like rot gut garbage as it would be up here. And I tried it, and it's all pickle. It was just all pickle. Nothing but pickle. Really, that's the dill. There's like a dill flavor that comes out of rye for some reason. I haven't been to California in a while. Alright. Thinking if I want to be a productive person tomorrow, because I need to get some stuff done before I meet up with Snyder. Like, I need to finish the moderation thing. I picked up Golden Yoshi's hack yesterday, which was a lot of fun. Characteristic Golden Yoshi hack, mind you, but lots of fun. Like, I feel like bad qualifying it, but, like, he's only ever made hacks of this style that I've ever seen. Like, there's gonna be, like, 8 levels. There's gonna be some number of gimmicks. And you're gonna have a final level where the gimmicks are mixed together. Like, it's formulaic, but it's not a bad kind of formulaic. Like, I really wish I could have a better example than Hardy Boys. Nuts. But that's what I keep coming back to. It's like, or I guess mystery novels, like an Agatha Christie. Like, you know how it's going to work, but you're gonna have a good time reading it. Or a Monster of the Week show. Back when I was a kid, I used to like those. Like Power Rangers. Really like the Big Bad Beetleborgs, if I remember right. There's also like a Teenage Wolfman thing. Standard Cafe. You know, that's... I mean... I think the issue here is that the cafe motto is they have to be one-room things in general, right? Otherwise, I would agree with you about it's a decent moniker, but I feel like it's just like Golden Yoshi Core. Kind of like there's Daizo Core, you know? Or Idol Core. There's levels where, like, you can smell they were made by this specific person. Crap. It's not a bad thing. But, like, you could just easily tell, oh yeah, this is an idle level, this is a Daizo level, this is a whatever level. How did I not die to the... How did I die to the Koopa there? What is Olga Core? Something that's supposed to look standard, but somehow feels very Kaizo-y, I would say. But it isn't Kaizo, but it feels like Kaizo. Would be my best guess, based upon that door hack and the last QLDC entrant you did. What was it? The one where you couldn't jump because of the blocks? It was clever. I didn't argue too hard for it to get disqualified for feeling very Kaizo. It's one of those things I just don't care that much about when it comes to judging. I'd much rather just, like, most people have a good time as long as the important bits of the rules are held. And honestly, the lines blur so much these days. Oh, hello. No! That was the closest I've gotten so far. That fish hadn't slowed me up. It was a PB. I can live with that. I can live with that. I was so close. I know! The only thing is I don't know if there's more to it. Like, there could be a whole nother level of this. And, I mean, it's a 4. I feel like there might not be, but it's impossible for me to know. But, like I said, I'll keep trying for a little bit, but I do need to be a productive person tomorrow. I am definitely not doing that part right. Oh, come on. One of those I'll have to put in the revisit bin at some point. There's a lot of Romhack Races levels that are in the revisit bin. Which is why I'm so confused as to why my list is wrong. I need to go back and, like, re-correlate it properly with the YouTube playlist. It's an easy enough thing for me to do, but the fact that it's missing things is bugging me, and might be indicative of a bug. Or possibly it just didn't save at some point. I don't know. I have never failed to get the Buzzy Beetle. That's a first. Oh well. I love that I'm getting that. If I'd gotten that, that would have been really good. I was way ahead of schedule at that time. And there's no more sprite spawns that matter past that point. Anyway. Only other thing I could think to talk about was the book I read recently, and honestly, that's a little bit of a tricky one. I was talking to my brother about the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. Best known for the Narnia series, I would say. But he did a lot of writings, Christianity stuff, and my brother mentioned The Great Divorce, and I figured I'd give it a shot. And one, it was kind of depressing. The bulk, I'll get back to it in a second. Probably shouldn't. No, not that fish. Jumped too high. The bulk of it is talking about, I mean, the basic premise, right? Dude finds himself in a weird place where everyone's queuing for something. And some people leave the line, think, oh, it's too long of a line, and I didn't want to go anyway, etc., etc., etc. So he gets on this bus and talks to some people on the bus. And eventually he realizes he's not on Earth. He's somewhere else. Things are weird. And basically he's in purgatory of a sorts. Gotta go faster. or barely missed that fish that's screwing me over. Anyway, the vast majority of it are beings from heaven. I would say angels, but he explicitly mentions an angel by name, and it's not by name specifically, but like says this is an angel and does not behave the same as the others do. But it's mostly people discussing, or mostly the heavenly beings trying to convince people to pay attention to things other than worldly concerns. One of the early ones is a professor type, and he's like, oh no, I'm dreadfully busy. We're having a consortium down there, and I need to write 2 more papers on this. And of course, in real life, he was a religious studies kind of guy, which was kind of funny. He likes irony. The one with the angel is probably the weirdest one. The guy in question, the ghost. They're all referred to as ghosts, so none of them are solid in this area. The ghost in question has this iguana on his shoulder. I forget if it's an iguana, but it's a lizard. And the angel keeps asking if he wants him to take it off. And he's like, no, it's fine. And he's being quiet. He's not telling me things. And eventually he starts to take it off, and it's burning him. And he's like, he didn't say it would hurt. And I was like, you didn't ask. But eventually he does. And he's like one of the few people who actually gets better, I suppose, in the book. Which was a bit nice, because it was getting rather depressing. His sin was that of lust, which took the form of a lizard in hell, and it became a rather nice horse once he got over it. Do not ask me how this works in C.S. Lewis's cosmology, but a non-trivial amount of the book is taken up with the idea of, is it okay for other people to suffer while you're not suffering? Can you be happy in heaven when others are suffering? Which is a hard question to answer. Knew it! Friggin' knew it! Not today, Fire. Not today. Alright, what do I do now? Okay. Alright, I now need to figure out how to do this. And thank you for H's. But it was short. It was interesting. I would still say if you're gonna read any books by C.S. Lewis, you're probably better off with Narnia. Or the Screwtape Letters. The Screwtape Letters are pretty awesome. You don't have to be content, but you don't have to co-suffer. Pretty much. The argument that one of the heavenly beings made was basically that if you do allow for that, then you can be held hostage by a dog in a manger. One of the other major named characters was very Scottish, and apparently was a real person for the purposes of this. So I don't think that's what I wanted. But anyway. I'm gonna spoil this. It turns out it was all a dream, and our dude was actually just on his writing desk. So, yeah, I'd say the Screwtape Letters are more interesting. If you've ever read Calvin and Hobbes, you might remember that the teacher's name is Wormwood. And this was a specific and conscious choice that, that the author made, because it is a reference to the Screwtape Letters. There's really only 2 named characters in the Screwtape Letters. There's Screwtape and Wormwood. And I always get this backwards, because I can't ever remember which one was which. Watterson, thank you. I believe Screwtape is the one writing the letters, and Wormwood is the one receiving them. And Wormwood is an apprentice devil, so you only ever read the side... you only ever read Screwtape's side of things. But Screwtape is an elder devil and likes to give good advice. Deviously good advice to his, thing. To the apprentice devil. And it's just an interesting book. It is very interesting. What is my favorite type of wood? Probably oak. Oh, which worm is my favorite type of wood? No. I prefer my wood to not have worms in it. Cherry's nice. Just as a general, this is a good type of wood. But I digress. That's a spin jump. I really wish I remembered any of the passages from that, because there are some good ones, such as when Screwtape tells Wormwood, no, you're not exuberant, you're just drunk. The book itself takes place sort of on around the eve of World War II in Britain, because C.S. Lewis. Well, that wasn't the play. But again, interesting books. The audiobook was pretty well read, and there's an addendum at the end, which is interesting. The C.S. Lewis actually wrote an extra little bit, which happens every so often. You'll get an extra snippet that an author ends up adding, which can be interesting. Screwtape offers a toast. But that one's also pretty fun. Bit of bedraggling of the university system on a whole, which I don't have much of a problem bedraggling at times. Academia has issues. Sometimes they're funny issues, but... But no, I'd say if you're gonna read any Lewis, just stick with the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And if you're, for the love of Batman, do not read them in the chronological order. Read them in the release order. Because I tell you, The Magician's Nephew is a much harder read. Oh, I need to keep E-Speed. Much harder read to start than Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Because it's just plain weird. Even for a fantasy series, it's just plain weird. Also listened to the two Alice in Wonderland books. I never realized that the entirety of the second book was basically fish puns. Like, absolutely ridiculous. Everything about it is fish puns. Because it happens when Alice falls asleep near a cat. That's the story. Now, of course, you don't read Alice in Wonderland for the plot. You read it for the nonsense. And there is some top-quality nonsense in that. I think that is where the... what is that thing? Well, I can hear it. It's the Frimish Brandersnatch and that. The Jabberwocky poem comes from. One of the more interesting things that you find in modern fantasy games is the Vorpal Blade, which comes directly from that poem. And it always does something very powerful, because of course, it slays the Jabberwocky. How couldn't it? Or the Jabberwock. So... I missed my chance to get the Vorpal Blade in Baldur's Gate 2, and I did regret it a little bit when I looked up on the wiki how you get it, because I actually had the piece I needed. I just didn't do the right thing with it. I reached a point in the game where someone asked, "Hey, you have that thing of ours. Can we have it back?" And instead of saying yes, I should have said no, which would have gotten me the other half of it. But, I beat the game regardless. I didn't need a Vorpal Blade, which I think had a just really good chance of killing people outright. Like, don't get me wrong, instant death items, instant death weapons are really nice. No, I've already lost it. But yeah, I find that the old kind of historical stuff they put in games, fantasy games, to be of interest to me. Especially because, like, you always see things like Excalibur, right? Like, Final Fantasy always has an Excalibur. They always have a Masamune, not pronounced that way, but years and years have made me want to pronounce it that way instead of Masamune. who was an actual swordsmith in Japan, but I digress. But there's not that many other really famous weapons of other types, right? You've got swords, you've got some holy swords, but like you don't have an awful lot of them outside of Arthurian legend. You do have Giabog, which is out of the Scottish or Gaelic sort of tradition, which does tie into the Arthurian legend a bit, but that's a famous spear. When it comes to like daggers and stuff, they kind of have to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Boop. Alright. I might be being slow there. Oh, come on! Can I make it? Survey says no. What was I talking about? But yeah, like Final Fantasy V, they need to get a weapon and a weapon like a harp, and so they go with Apollo's harp, which, you know, as far as like trying something, works pretty well. As the Diablo 2 has the blade of Alibaba. Interesting. Now, I only recently learned about that particular story and how ridiculously recursive it is. It's a story about a story about a story, and it goes up and down in levels a few times. Like, I can see why, and we were talking about this last night, why the story involving recursion in Gödel, Escher, and Bach involves genies. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else beyond the story happens in Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, or the Night of a Thousand Tales, or whatever one is. Yes, God over to Jin, exactly. I'm certain that was why he chose the frame. I think it's likely that's why he chose the framing. Because, again, those are recursive tales, where there's a story being told by a character in the story that's being told by a character in that story. Which, let's be honest, when was the last time you encountered that in the wild? Like, recursion does not really exist outside of computer science and occasionally fractal structures in nature. Till it reaches a fixed point. And fixed points are weird. I actually had to deal with that last year for ICFP. The specific language that they had devised for the thing we were running was a type of lambda calculus, or is a combinator thing, and I forget which one, what specific combinator it was, but we had to use fixed point constructions because we wanted to get things done, and that was the only way to do it. Like, in some languages, there are not ways to describe things that aren't that kind of thing. Okay, that was not what to do. I'm trying to think if there was another one I've seen. It wasn't another, not specific Final Fantasy or other game, but it was in someone's fantasy game. I forget what specific variety. I want to say it was a D&D game. Really good, interesting campaign tale. It was posted on 4chan a million years ago, and it was called The Tale of the Industrious Rogue, because basically at some point they abandon all pretense of the plot the DM had decided and go into the salt business. The rogue does, and other money-making things, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes, and it goes. And at the end, you see a wellspring, which isn't a common fantasy thing, but exists again in the Gaelic tradition, the Celtic tradition of Arthurian legends. There's the wellspring of something or other. I forget. It's a cauldron that you stand near, and while you're standing near it, you take no harm can come of you, or you're healed. I forget what the exact legend says. It's been a long time since Arthurian legend class. It was one of the best classes I ever took in like pre-college. Yes! What? Brave jump! Well, I'm happy. I am happy I beat that level. I am shocked I beat that level. I was definitely in the first half feeling it was not going to happen. Oh. GG. Let's check out the GG and credits. Okay, I don't have to put up with that. Thanks for the GGs. Let's see what's over the hill. Like, I assume the intention was to force you to do a couple wall clips or something. And I am not for it. It's you are over the hill. ASM Sonicu, Amelia Thomas, music, ladies man. Is that really it? Wonder how this works in... Oh, but there probably were Kaizo blocks. I didn't even think to look for Kaizo blocks. I should at least check for Kaizo blocks. Let's see if any of these pipes go anywhere. Nope. Nope. Maybe I'm a moron. Alright, let's just check quick for Kaizo blocks to see if there was any... Yep. Fire wasn't cruel. I know some people would have done something like that, but not... I guess not Fire. Let's keep doing the same thing. Whatever. Level's over. We have beaten it. It was a good thing. We talked about all sorts of many things. Of candle wax, of ceilings and candle wax, and something in wings. Where the sea is boiling hot and whether pigs have wings. Probably should at least memorize one of the two of those at some point. But not today. It was a good level.